You know, I told you earlier, I remember when the dollar was like 5 to 1. I kind of so old. Probably I can remember when the dollar was like 1 to 1. I never thought I'd see a day
Yeah,
when
I
it
think
would
you
be.
remember when we didn't have no dollar. Talk it true.
Well, of course, I do. When we had pound, shillings, and pence, I probably was in my teens when it was changed. It was changed in the 60s. I never thought I'd see a day when it would be like 28 times that. Yeah, the sliding Jamaican dollar seems to be an ongoing slippery slope. And here to tell us what improvements can be made, government senator and international economist, Senator Dr. Andre Horton, almost at 142 record.
Yes, that's where it is now. That's
Why?
where it is.
Why?
The management of our economy is at fault, both fiscal and monetary policy. What we realized when I scrutinize the import numbers and I look at where much of the dollar is going and what we import, because it's really a demand and supply. What we import versus what we export determines how much dollars we sell versus how much dollars we buy. And the fuel, the value of the fuel that we import has increased by almost $30 billion from 175 in 2007 to almost 206 billion in 2018. Also, machinery and transport equipment, the value that we import also increased from 160 billion to 180 billion.
So why are we importing more?
Well, when
Must
you
be a
take,
need, right?
yeah, there's a need, and it's twofold. One is that the price at which we import these have increased, so that
But does that have to do with us, or are those factors external?
that has to do with the exchange rate. So imagine we're importing oil, and the value of oil today is $50 a barrel, but the exchange rate is $100. So we're paying $100 per barrel. When the exchange rate goes to 140, it's now 140. So whenever the dollar depreciates, it increases the price at which we import goods. And we know Christmas is coming, so and a lot of people are now doing their Christmas shopping, and it is going to cost all of us more. Not just the people, but companies who import goods to resell in the local market. You import soft drinks, you import appliances, you import clothing. All these are going to be more expensive on us now. So when we take fuel, and we take heavy equipment and transportation into consideration, they account for almost 400 billion out of our 700 billion of imports.
Whoa.
So how do we stem this? Because I'm sure I heard the BOJ governor saying it's a matter of the demand of the US dollar.
And the supply.
And the supply.
Yes.
But I'm trying to figure out how...
All right, so let's look at it from the export side, because we have to solve it from the export side. Now, if you look at exports from 2017 to 2018, yes, it has been increasing. It has been increasing basically because of bauxite. It has been increasing basically because of alumina and minerals. Now, all our traditional exports, now remember not say all, a good percentage of our traditional exports, coffee has been falling in exportation. We look at cocoa has been falling in exportation. We look at a lot of the products that we export has been falling. So we are becoming more and more dependent now on bauxite and alumina to fill that export gap. So when you look at it, our imports are relatively close to 800 billion, while our exports is a little bit over 270 billion, which is 1/3. So we import 3 times more than we export. Now, what I was coming up with government policy, since the government has extended the year life on the type on the cars that we can import, a lot of people now are importing a lot of cars. A lot of people are becoming car dealers, and this accounts for the second highest part of our import bill. Oils and fuel, 200 and odd billion. Transportation and machinery, 179 billion. So we have to know 71. So we have to look at it, 81. We have to look at it in a way where we have to say, how do we increase what we export and reduce the value of what we import?
So, well, I want to know how we did that, because we've been largely more import
Dependent
and
yes.
export driven, and we've been trying to ramp up our export. So
yeah, but our policies have been incongruent in many regards. What we've been doing is that we have been giving importation, for example, with the motor vehicles, we have been giving them leeway. we have been giving concessions to a wide cross-section, but we have not been giving the impetus to our productive sector. And that is important because when you look at it, if you're looking at who should pay tax, and you look at companies downtown, for example, the people who buy and sell, and you look at the Chinese who sell downtown, and you look at other businesses, and then you look at, okay, the world is now moving into innovation. The world is now moving into the fourth industrial revolution. Japan realized this in the 1960s. Singapore also realized this, and they too started making technological products that when they sell them, they can fetch a higher price. Look, Singapore exports a container of chips. Jamaica too also exports a container of chips. The value of the container that Jamaica exports is, say, 1 billion, while the value of the container that Singapore exports is 100 billion.
But does Singapore face the same
Because
cost that we face in terms of the shipping? And because there are other things to take into
those
consideration.
costs are minor, man. Why?
Really?
Because we are exporting banana chips and Singapore is exporting microchips. So it's a big difference, the value of what you create, because the world looks at countries as individual
But if there's a demand
players.
for banana chips, why? I mean,
If there's a demand, why not? But what is that earning for us?
So what do we do? What do we do?
First of all, we have to look at the economy now as a body. And we have to look at it as to how does Jamaica fit into the global world of business and commerce? What are we going to provide? I heard the other day that Jamaica's bauxite made the space shuttle that went to space in the United States, which means that we have good bauxite. Now, we have other minerals and other types of materials that can. You're telling me that out of this entire phone, we can look for a screw and say, all right, Jamaica is going to concentrate.
but isn't that where we're moving with the
this.
logistics hub, Doc? That's where we're going. We don't reach there yet, but in the meantime, we have bauxite and alumina.
So by the
Hold
time
on
we
now.
reach, but the logistics hub is not manufacturing. The logistics hub is
Assembly,
movement
right.
of goods from
I hear
one
you, I
place
hear
to the
you, I
next.
hear you.
So we need to look at industries,
Right.
moving goods from primary production. So when we take the bauxite out of the earth, for example, there should be a policy that says, okay, you can export 50% of this directly, but the next 50% must be manufactured.
Let me ask you, Rhoda, the diversification plays in this. So bauxite, alumina, obviously we're too dependent, and there are issues there. What about things like tourism and linkage industries? What about things like BPO? Why? What happened?
Simone, we're talking about billions of dollars earned for the domestic industry. The tourist dollar does not stay here. It does not belong to us. It's just the employment aspect of the tourism that we normally get. What does this work out, BPO? BPO is mainly services. And when you look at it, yes, it is contributing now towards overall employment, but in terms of foreign currency earnings for the country, then we have to think more substantial. BPO can play a role, but it has to grow in terms of the services. So you look at, for example, when you call India, when you have an Apple phone, and you call India, and those Indians there, and they say, okay, you go inside your phone, and you go inside the computer, and you do this way. So they are fetching a higher price. When you call Jamaica, it's basically, hello, sir, how the customer service, whatever. So the lower level that we offer in the BPO is not generating enough. It's just merely jobs. So it brings us now to our GDP growth because it is tied to our production and our productivity. So when you're looking at what we're producing in the economy, GDP is growing by 0.1% or 1%. Put that 1%. GDP is growing by 1%. When you look at the unemployment rate, it has fallen by over 5%. Now, normally, when the unemployment rate falls so drastically, more people are being employed, so you expect GDP to grow by, say, 2%. But what we're seeing, based on my research, is that we're having a negative relationship between business sophistication and GDP growth, and a positive relationship between business sophistication and the unemployment. So what we're seeing is that the economy needs more coordination between the policies that the government make and the impact they have with the individual. And it's two-sided, fiscal and monetary. So the Bank of Jamaica, they can try to intervene in the market as much as they want to. But as long as we don't fix the fundamental issues on the ground where import, exports, and productivity is concerned, then we'll be in this position. And there's a myth out there about We don't have to worry about the exchange rate because inflation is the important thing. The BOJ think that they can sit down there in offices and say that the exchange rate is not important and it is the inflation is more important. It doesn't make any sense to us because the prices we face when we go to the supermarket, the prices we face when we go to the shop, the prices we face when we shop online are escalated because of a depreciating currency.
We have to go. We could talk about this for a little while longer.
I mean, some more questions.
Yeah, I have a book on the issue. It's called Developing Sustainable Balance of Payments in Small Countries. And that's been published in 2017. It has been providing reasonable advice to many countries, but I guess Jamaica will gradually get there over time.
All right. Opposition Senator and international economist, Dr. Andre Hartnell.
Still in the news. Sliding dollar, murders, robberies. Is it all just too negative? We've got Leon Jackson Miller stopping by from our newsroom to weigh in on that after this.
So come.